today I thought I'd concentrate on some of the gear that I've used over the years. Plus I've had a few inquiries about my recording setup that I use to make these videos. So welcome to my home studio. And so now I'll get Desley to hand the camera over to me and I'll take it from there. Alrighty. First up, oh look, there you go, a bit of product placement. Roger this, Roger that CD, Star's new album, you need to buy that, that's fabulous. Okay, I use a brand new Soundcraft Signature 10. It's got a USB out. So that USB out cable, that takes the audio into the iPad. Right, so there's my iPad there. So that's what I do the filming on, and the audio goes straight into it there, matey. Okay, so back to the desk. Look, it's pretty straight ahead. I run my backing tracks off this phone that I'm recording on. That goes in there, bring it up there, plug the bass in there. There was a slight EQ for Curiosity Killed the Cat. I just needed to kind of round it off a little bit. And of course I'm using, for the microphone, I'm using the Sennheiser EWG4. That's the transmitter pack, and of course the receiver pack going into the desk. There's a message come up. All running into the Soundcraft, and of course there's the master fader there, and that's what's going to the iPad for the audio. So that's pretty self-explanatory. As I say, no fancy EQ on the bass, it's all in the fingers, matey. So here I am in storage. There's my old Alpha practice amp. Got a wonderful 12-inch speaker in it, that thing. Haven't used it in years. There's a couple of old Warwick cabinets. I used to use the original 212 in its cover and its accompanying 210. Beautiful old school cabinets, heavy as all buggery, but mighty sound. That beautiful 2-inch throated horn, good PA box. And of course the Warwick, the very famous Warwick 800 or the Womp 800. I love that amp. They used to run it in bridge mode. Unfortunately got a power surge at a gig one night and absolutely, well, it blew up and we couldn't replace the parts. The circuits have long gone. Warwick had a fire in one of their factories, lost all the circuit diagrams, but it was a great amp. You had a beautiful, it was great for the 5-string bass. Beautiful graphic equalizer, goes right down to 40. Very, very handy. All the frequencies in the right spot to clean up your sound. That's the channel I used pretty much. I used the compressor, a very, very light compression. It would only kick in if I absolutely fanged it. That was the EQ section for the other channel, which I really used. And before that, I was using this fabulous Trace Elliott preamp. It's got a valve in the front end, matey. Valve preamp. Basically a copy of the original Trace Elliott. Fantastic preamp, that. Alright, so that's the old gear. Oh wow, look at that. Pyramid Montreux Jazz Festival, 1983. The 2-inch masters. And even some old 1/4-inch mixers. Hey, so here's my old pedal board I used to use in the 80s and the 90s. Got the original Boss TU12 tuner, a Morley Fuzz Wah. The Boss CE2 chorus pedal, love the sound of that unit. Now, that is not a Bete and it's not a delay unit. It actually, what is inside that case is an Ibanez tube screamer. See, a bit of trickery. But yes, I had a tube screamer in there, fantastic. A great sound with the original Boss OC2 heading into the Tube Screamer. That made a great sound, that. And of course, add a touch of wah and you'll make crazy bass sounds. Anyway, that's my old pedal board. Been retired for a long time now. I discovered that running my bass through this unit, it would suck the life out of the tone. They're not true bypass, these pedals, but gee, they make great sounds. So there it is. I have to put that in a museum. Okay, I'm out in the garage now. This is my main rig I've been using for years. Gee, I don't know, 15 years or more. A Warwick 410 Neo cab, lightweight cab. Gee, done a lot of gigs on this. And my Warwick Quad 6 amplifier. 600 watts at 4 ohm. I love this amp. In fact, I love this amp so much, I've got a spare one. Beautiful selector switch there on it. The Quadramax. It kind of pulls up different settings in the front end valve section. You can run a bit of tube drive, saturation, got all your boosts, got a switchable mid-range, upper and lower mid-range, which you can shift what EQs they are, whether you're cutting or boosting. I'm actually pulling out a little bit of lower mids because the Warwick thumb bass has got a lot of mids. And really that's about it. Look at that. Simple as that. It all runs into a Behringer tuner, which kicks in when the amp is in standby mode. There you go. Nothing fancy, folks, but gee, I love that. Big valve front end preamp and 600 watts of MOSFET power. This is my beautiful 64 L series jazz bass that you saw in the Curiosity clip. As the original colour. Oh yes, some photographs of Jaco Pastorius I took at the Palais. God, people keep sending me messages. Yes, so this is the 64 L series jazz bass. It does have new pickups in it. It's got the Seymour Duncan weather report pickups, new pots, new wiring, and a badass 2 bridge. There you go, it's been stripped back. Obviously, it's quite light, that bass. The neck is really slim, very skinny neck, as you can see, typical jazz neck. Heading across, of course, this is the bass that I played all through Little River Band. Didn't have that bridge on it then, but this is the this was a 70. I bought this in Dunedin, New Zealand, for $400 back then in 73, 74 jazz bass. It's got a brass nut on it now, of course. It's got an extra string tree on it, just to keep a bit more pressure down on the A string across the nut. Of course, it's now been defretted. Pretty rare thing to see a maple neck fretless. Not sure what the pickups are in it. I don't know, Seymour Duncan's probably, something like that. So as I said, this was defretted in 1978-79 when I bought the L Series jazz bass. Obviously, this, as I said, this is the bass that all the first 2 Little River Band albums are played on, and the Stars Paradise album. And of course, these 2 Fenders all through the Pyramid days. That one, and As He Quickly Pans, and that one. They were my 2 main basses until 1988-89. And along comes Warwick. This is my beautiful JD Warwick JD thumb bass. As you can see, it's had a lot of playing. The pickup covers are all starting to melt away. Beautiful old bass, this. So I started playing this around about 89 it is. It's an 89 JD thumb bass, as you can see. So this has kind of been my main workhorse ever since then. In the early 90s, I got a fretless version made up. Beautiful curly Babinga, fretless. Custom made for Roger McLachlan. Actually, that used to be up at the 24th fret. You can't yes, you can just see it there, the 24th fret. And I got them to take it out of the fretboard and stick it there because the tone would change when you played across it. Silly buggers, what were they thinking? And of course, a little bit later on, I got a Warwick custom shop bass made up. This is a 5-string also, but it's got a Kayla whammy bar on it, but it's strung with a high C, so it's E, A, D, G, C with a whammy bar on it. Beautiful, what do you call it, flame? Oh, something maple, flame maple, purple heart, swamp ash, bird's eye maple, Brazilian rosewood fingerboard. And it's got lotus flower inlays, so I've actually called it the Lotus Bass. This is more of a solo instrument, this one. It really is. I don't take it out and play it a lot, but I'm really happy to own it. And of course, there's another rare beast of mine. This is a P-Bass, a Mexican P-Bass Special Deluxe. It's like a jazz and a P-Bass. It's got active EQ on it, and I put a left-handed neck on it, so it's got a reverse neck. Nice old bass that. Well, it's quite young really. Okay, and lastly but not least, my current pedal board. People wonder about what pedals I use. You know, sometimes I set this up and I hardly touch it, but it has an Aguilar twin filter in the front. This is the first thing in the chain. Twin filter, a Moore chorus pedal, not unlike the CE2 chorus pedal, the old Boss original. And it's dusty, isn't it? Electro Harmonics pitchfork, I do like that. Not a bad octave divider, and it gives you a whole bunch of other fourths and fifths and minor sixths, minor sevenths, all sorts of cool stuff. A Black Star distortion unit, which is what I use for, obviously, distortion and a bit of drive whenever I need it. A Jim Dunlop, it is a Jim Dunlop, yeah, a Crybaby, but it's the bass wah, which I love this because the pedal is sprung, and when it's up, it's off. So as soon as you touch the pedal, it activates it, which is really cool. And a Strymon timeline delay unit, which is really cool, does all sorts of really cool clean delays, tap delays, swirly stuff, or semi-reverb settings. Great little unit. All powered by Seox AC10, because that coughs out AC as well as DC. It's an AC-DC. So, gee, it needs a clean, doesn't it? So that's my pedal board that I'm currently using. As I say, sometimes I use very little of it. It just depends what I'm up to. I do like the combination of, say, a bit of octave divider, distortion and wah together. That's a pretty nasty sound, or even just distortion and wah. It's almost synthy. Anyway, that's enough raving. Just thought I'd give you a bit of a heads up on the equipment, folks. This is he panning around. Look at that gaggle of beautiful instruments. Oh, and there's my ukulele in the background. So that's it, folks. Back to work. See ya.